The company we're talking about tonight was founded in 2006 by three of South Africa's top businessmen: the former SABMiller Chairman Meyer Kahn, Bidvest's Brian Joffe, and the co-founder of Netcare Motty Sacks. It then went really quiet until this week, when it was like a slumbering giant had awoken. Well, maybe not a giant, but certainly a company that was slumbering. This is Tonight. I'm Bruce Whitfield, and tonight we're speaking to Dewald Dempers, who's the chief executive of Afrocentric. Announced two big deals this week, one with Sanlam and one to acquire a business called Pharmacy Direct. Afrocentric is a BEE company, and what, you've got 51% BEE, you've got a stake in it. Sacks and Joffe and Kahn have got a share in there as well, have they?
That's correct. I think the empowerment shareholding is in excess of 70% still. So the three founder members has got actually a fairly small stake. They held the majority of the pref shares originally, which converted into 15% of the market cap during last year.
Because Afrocentric came to market, I think you reverse listed into WB Holdings. At the time it was a deciduous fruit business. You couldn't be anything further away from that, could you?
Yes, I wasn't involved in the business at that stage, but we had a long relationship with Motty, so we knew what they were doing. And they were doing quite well at that stage, with 100 million trading at 300 million. So I always say to them, they should do nothing. They do better at doing nothing. And then they acquired the stake in Jasco and did the funding for the MTech transaction. And nothing happened for quite a while after that.
Because it's an investment holding company with not that many investments. I mean, at its most simple, if you look at Remgro as a classic investment holding company, it's not that.
No, most definitely not. I mean, there's basically only three components to it. There's the Rio Tinto JV, which can either develop into something or nothing.
Okay.
There's no cost involved for Afrocentric as far as that's concerned. But we can't really attribute a value to it either.
Okay, so you've got Rio Tinto in there, you've got Jasco, about 20% of Jasco, and now Pharmacy Directors in there as well. Plus, of course, you still retain a stake in the vehicle that owns MedScheme. Yes,
so basically, when we acquired MedScheme, which came out of the unbundling of NetPartner, we were looking at listing MedScheme, and then we sold to Afrocentric, but effectively it was a reverse listing. Mm-hmm. When we acquired MedScheme, it was very close to being technically insolvent. It was a turnaround. The first year that we took over the business, it made a small profit. And so it was a fairly lengthy negotiations with Mr. Sacks to sell him this hockey stick going forward. And he basically wanted to ensure that the businesses can generate sustainable earnings. So we entered into a transaction where we warranted 180 million profit, average over 3 years, and basically coming from a zero base. So when the financial manager, Mr. Holmes, found out about the agreement, his eyes went this big.
But it's paid off.
Yes, I think we missed the warranties by 3%.
Okay,
so,
but that's pretty close. I mean, you're in the ballpark. I think you'll get a little bit of forgiveness on that particular point. When you look at the MedScheme deal you've announced this week, though, Sanlam is one of the biggest insurance companies in the country, doesn't have any meaningful stake in the healthcare industry and in health insurance. Effectively, you're giving them a leg into their business. 28% of effectively MedScheme sold to Sanlam.
Yes. I mean, the open scheme medical aid market at the moment is dominated by one player, by Discovery. I mean, they entered the market in late 90s as a market disruptor. Maybe 16 years down the line, and they're still a market disruptor with the same strategy. You know, so there's something odd. You know, you would expect either competitors will catch up to them or regulations will catch up to them, and
but it hasn't happened. It hasn't happened. They've remained dominant. So by partnering now with Sanlam, do you see this as an opportunity for MedScheme?
Most definitely. I mean, the strategy from day one was, and that's why we acquired Netcare at that stage. We anticipated consolidation in the market. Netcare went backwards at a stage, and that was before Andre joined to...
Who's Andre?
Andre Meyer. He's
Meyer,
now with Life Healthcare. He came out of Alexander Forbes at that stage. He had a stake, and they were basically driving the turnaround. Being in the service provider industry at that stage, with hospitals and medical practices, you can see if the administrator is working or not working. I mean, the admin shows. And there was definite signs that Netcare has been improving and improving.
So what
but there was a lot of risks involved.
What does Sanlam bring you then? What does Sanlam bring to the table?
So we were looking for a financial service partner from day one. I approached Sanlam at that stage as well. And I think
they had problems of their own.
They had still the memories of Southern Healthcare, I think, at that stage. And they said, no, they want to do something small. Liberty then re-entered the healthcare market, actually one of our clients that moved away. And so we did a transaction at that stage with Old Mutual. I don't know if you can remember that. That was in 2008, somewhere around there, where we acquired Old Mutual Healthcare, and we sold them MS Life. Netcare had a little life business when we bought it. And but that business to me is too complex. I don't understand it. I like to see the cash in the drawer.
Exactly. Actuarial models are full of promise, aren't they? And
they say you had a great year, you made 30 million profit, but can we please have 50 million?
Yes, exactly. So that's the one side of the deal. You're now partnering with Sanlam on that particular front. And then there is Pharmacy Direct. Now, Pharmacy Direct's an interesting business because you distribute medication, or Pharmacy Direct distributes medication, chronic medication, across the country. That's an interesting business that you're into now. How exactly does that work?
My view is going forward, administration is vanilla. You know, it's never going to give you a competitive edge. You expect it to do it right, and it's either right or wrong. So you must do it right, and you must do it at a decent price. The management of healthcare costs going forward is definitely lying in chronic conditions. And we need to move away from being a call center with rules and saying, no, you can't have this, no, you can't have that, you're only entitled to this, and move into where we actually deliver the service. And so Pharmacy Directors, major part of their business is distributing chronic medication. And then we can also measure compliance and so on to ensure that patients get their medicine, ensure that they take their medicine, because that brings the cost down in the long run. So that's part of a strategy to look at all chronic conditions.
So when we look then at Afrocentric and we say, hold on a second, here's an investment holding company, there's a mining exposure, there's a technology exposure with Jasco, and there's also the health business. The health business is the one that really lights your jets. That looks like the core of the business. Is that where the growth is going to happen? Yes,
I mean, at the stage when we did the transaction between Netcare and Afrocentric, I mean, I come from the health environment, my life, that's the business I know. So the Jasco investment was there already. That was a transaction that Anna and Joe did. They invested in a couple of different areas in the market. But to me, that investment doesn't make sense. You know, it's not complementary to anything else.
So there's a lot of reworking that has to happen. How involved are Kahn and Joffe and Sacks nowadays? I mean, Joffe's got his own issues at Bidvest, sorting out Adcock Ingram, of course, and all of that. But he's still a shareholder. He's still involved. Are they all sitting on the board? Do they still actively participate?
Brian resigned after the Adcock transaction. Motty is still very involved. I mean,
and these are legends of South African business. I mean, you've got to wake up early in the morning before having a meeting with him.
Yes, I don't think he can switch off. That's the issue. I mean, if Joyce has got away, they'll be in New York permanently. But you know, he can't leave it. So no, he's still very involved, and I leave a lot of things still to him. and he likes to do media announcements, sends announcements, interact with the auditors and so on. And you know, he's got great experience.
Yeah.
So while they're there, I'm going to use them.
No, absolutely. And I mean, there's a huge amount of history, there's a huge amount of experience in there. What next? Because one looks at this business and says, you've lain quite quiet for a long time. You've come out with 2 big announcements in the space of a single week. Do we start seeing lots of stuff going on, or is this a new consolidation phase for Afrocentric?
No, there's a lot of planning. We still on exactly the same strategy as when we bought the business. The implementation of it has just taken much longer than what we anticipated. The environment is very difficult to operate in.
The point is, I mean, this is a complex space. It's a space that is ripe for competition, and you're looking to bring that competition.
Yeah. So when we acquired the business, the transaction selling the hospitals and buying Miller at this stage was originally approved by the competition authorities, the competition commissioner, and referred to the tribunal. And then there was an intervention from the CMS, funny enough. I don't know why they second-guessed the competition authorities.
But
yeah, it took a year before we could get involved.
It's slow but steady, and look out for a more competitive environment. Dewald Dempers, Chief Executive of Afrocentric. Thank you for joining us, Dewald. Nice to see you, and thank you for watching. There'll be more tonight, tomorrow. Until then, good night and goodbye.